Thank you for staying with us on the show this morning on ITV. Lovely Monday morning. We'll get our conversation segment on course as we look at the post-PDP conventions and the 2023 election. I'd like to thank very especially a sociologist and academician, Dr. Luga Sado, for joining me on the program this morning. Good to have you. How's your weekend?
Very fine. Good morning.
Okay.
And thank you for having me.
Did you monitor the convention?
Of course.
Yeah.
Every Nigerian did.
What were the aspect of the convention that intrigued you the most?
Honestly, I like to salute the organizers of the PDP convention for the maintenance of law and order, for the decorum they maintained, the maturity with which they conducted this convention. I think they deserve to be celebrated and congratulated. I also want to thank them for being peaceful. There was nothing like violence, none to my knowledge. And I think that everyone who conducted themselves in that elections, whether those who won or those who didn't win, they all conducted themselves in the most appreciable manner. And I think that their actions are commendable. Well done.
Fantastic. Okay, we saw a former Senate president emerging as the national chairman of the PDP. And from the consensus of views expressed about the conduct, particularly from major national dailies, it looks like the governors had their way, and all of that stalwarts in the party, whether former vice president, former governor, they just had to accept the decision or the direction in which things went based on the thinking of the state governors of the party.
Very well. I think that political pundits all agree to the fact that in PDP, the governors are actually in charge at the moment, or let's say up till the last Saturday's convention.
Okay.
The governors have demonstrated their control of the PDP structure, and they have done it in the most civilized way. They have not used violence. They have not in any way intimidated people. They have just used their political influence to garner the kind of political support that they think they deserve and desire, and they've been able to channel it appropriately. So what played out is the politics of numbers, the politics of influence, the politics of mobilization. And I think that that's the direction of politics. It's not so much as to compelling people, intimidating people, but rather use your influence, use your position to get people to do what you want them to do. And that's what political power is all about. And I think that, again, I like to salute even the former vice president and all the others who took the election in their stride. They did not in any way condemn the process. They knew that those with superior arguments, those with superior numbers, won the day. And I think that it is worth commending. Now, for Iyosha Ayu, former Senate president emerging as the new chairman of the PDP, I accept it, but with some reservation, you know, especially because I know that in the past, PDP had zoned majority of their offices to the north, especially because power should naturally shift to the south. A situation where we now have the southeast producing the national chairman of the party may not necessarily be so good as far as the politicking in the southern perspective is concerned. But I mean, the PDP have a way of pulling up a lot of sleeves, and they have suspense in their accounts. So let's see how it goes and how it plays out. But it was a good convention. I enjoyed every bit of it. And I hope that our national elections will look like the PDP convention. Not because I'm a PDP member, I've never been, and I will not. But I like the fact that compared to the last elections of the opposition party, I think that the PDP, and I think that the opposition party have learned a lot from what the PDP did. That election is not a do or die affair.
Absolutely.
I mean, in the last APC election, we had about 93 persons elected into chairmanship position of the parties across the states, where we have just 36 states. That gives you the impression that all is not well with the APC. But the PDP have their issues, but I think that they've been able to manage it well, especially if the last convention is anything to go by.
Were you concerned about some of the stories that were, in the public space, particularly with Edo PDP? I'm sure ultimately, from what transpired at the Eagle Square in Abuja, it wasn't reflective of the crisis rocking the party in the state.
It's still that mechanism of reconciliation and ability to solve their problems indoors and in-house without necessarily escalating it that we saw in the PDP's convention, especially as it relates to Edo State PDP. Frankly speaking, I was excited that the PDP in Edo State did not go out to disgrace themselves. There was nothing to show that the home front is not settled. There was nothing to demonstrate that. So I hope that they should be able to reflect whatever took place in the convention back home and then build bridges. I have always said that Mr. Governor, who is the leader of the party, although I have my issues with the fact that the governor is declared leader of any political party, I think that that is one of the challenges of our political structure in Nigeria. Okay. But having said that, I think that the governor should build bridges. Build bridges, reach out to people, those who created the platform for you to emerge as the PDP candidate and eventually you won the position as governor of Edo State. Reach out to them. You know that politics is about interest, and once people feel that their interests are threatened, they will do everything within their powers to secure back their interests. So I think that both the governor, both Danobi, all those in the political structures in PDP, this is the time to put your house together. Remember, elections are by the corner, and if you don't put your house in order, the opposition will definitely come back and snatch power.
Fantastic. Let's talk about the PDP convention, particularly with the outcomes now, and then the 2023 elections. At a time that people are saying, look, there must be a power shift from the north to the south. The outcome of the convention, does it reflect that will so far?
In a way, it does. Outside the fact that the national chairman is from the southeast, I think that the distribution of the positions across all the districts, senatorial districts in Nigeria, I think it's commendable. More importantly, I'd like to salute the courage of the PDP in electing a youth for the first time as the national youth leader of the party.
25 years old.
25 years old. And in fact, some people argue he's almost 25. He's not exactly 25 years. He's 24 years plus. But let's agree that he's 25 years. I think that that is a monumental achievement. And I think that every well-meaning Nigerian should salute the PDP for the first time for daring the odds. We are in a country where we have youth leaders who are grandfathers. You know, people who are in their 60s and are declared youth leaders, and we find them in the National Youth Council, we find them across our political parties, people who have stopped giving birth, people whose children are in the universities are declared as youth leaders. And I think that the PDP convention this time around has settled it. But having said that, I think that the distribution of political offices in the last convention is not a complete reflection of the desire to shift power to the south. But like I said, it may be that the PDP has been able to put their house in order, and they know that with the structure they have presented, they will still be able to achieve that task. I think it's not debatable, neither is it negotiable that power is shifting to the south. From every indices, apart from maybe Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who feels that this is his time to become president of Nigeria, I think that the average northerner knows that by the end of 2023, they would have done their 8 years, and naturally, power should shift to the south. But whether it is to the southeast, southwest, or south-south, it's a different ball game entirely. But definitely, power is shifting to the south.
There's no, this has no constitutional backing.
Definitely, there are things that we refer to as conventions, conventional. It is not written, but it's an understanding. In Britain, for instance, they have the unwritten constitution, such that, and they are governed by conventions. These unwritten constitutions are acceptable to the people. In Nigeria, we do not practice the unwritten constitution, but we do know that we reach what we call gentleman agreement. It is that gentleman agreement that has brought in the structure that we have currently, such that when Obasanjo finished his term as president, it was only natural for power to shift back to the north. And every other southerner who was interested, Obasanjo did everything within his power to ensure that power shifted back to the north. And so when Yar'Adua became president, of course, we all know that unfortunately one of the brightest and best presidents we had as a country, but health issues did not allow him to finish his term. Jonathan came. And so when Jonathan finished his term after the first year and then the 4 years, 5 years, he was interested again. But we saw the way and manner the northerner said, no, power should naturally shift back to us because the South has done 8 years, Jonathan has done 5 years, and so power should shift back to the North. And that's how Buhari emerged. It was the best option, and once it came up, it was only natural. I think that the challenge we have in our dispensation is that when people are agitating to have power, they do that selfishly. They are not doing it in the interest of the nation. I think that every part of this nation can produce the best of persons to lead us in this nation. So leadership is not the prerogative of any ethnic nationality nor any zone in Nigeria. Every group, including the minority, have someone that they can project who will lead us effectively and take us out of the woods to exactly where this nation should be.
Fantastic. If you just join us, it's still TMI Monday, just x-raying the outcomes of the PDP National Convention, which held Friday into Saturday, and then making some projections for the 2023 elections. And let's see how all of that will pan out. Iyochayu has started talking tough ahead of the 2023 elections, saying the PDP is here to rescue Nigerians. I don't know what to make of these comments coming forward.
I like the choice of words when he said that they are here to rescue Nigeria. But rescue Nigeria from who? And that's my question. That's my worry. As a Nigerian, I think that all our politicians are the same. I feel so. However, like I said on this platform some weeks ago, we are left with the option of choosing between a witch and a wizard, between a demon and a devil. So you go for the lesser witch and the lesser demon. That's the challenge, because, like I said, the lack of ideology that we have in our political space is the reason why I can't vouch for any political individual or any political party. A person may just lose election in party A, and by tomorrow, he leads his group, his followers, to party B. And then party B annoys him, and he shifts back to party A. There is no sense of dignity as far as politics is concerned. But having said that, I think that the PDP has an opportunity to seize power from the APC. Especially in my opinion, the APC in the last 5 years hasn't done well for this nation. We have had astronomical increase in insecurity, heightened and hyperinflation in the country, and of course the level of recklessness in the country is disturbing. And this was the kind of scenario that the PDP created when they were in power some years ago, and that brought about the emergence of the APC. So it's about wrestling of power. And I hope that if the PDP succeeds in 2023, they should be able to galvanize their structure and build a Nigeria that we'll all be proud of. Frankly speaking, Nigerians are not interested whether it is APC or PDP who takes over power. Nigeria just wants improvement, amelioration of their conditions, enhanced standard of living, and of course security of lives and properties. And once these things are guaranteed, you can be certain that Nigerians are ready to go all out with that political party that guarantees them all of this. But the fear is that they tell us all of this before the elections, and when the elections come, they win. They tell us something else. I mean, we were in this country when the present administration told us that if they succeeded, if they were elected, that they were going to ensure that we had $1 to a naira. Today, we all know that you need over 500 naira to buy $1. They had assured us that petroleum was going to be dealt with, and that the issue of scarcity will be dealt with, and that they were going to deal with the issue of scarcity and hike in petroleum prices. But we now know that we pay far more now than what we used to pay for. They promised us that inflation was going to be reduced to the barest minimum. As at 2015, a bag of rice was 7,500 naira. Today, a bag of rice is about 28 or even more thousand naira. These are some of the issues that we're dealing with. Yet, these people come on television and on radio to tell us that they are the best that has happened to Nigeria. And that leaves Nigerians worried whether we no longer have the indices of measuring best, better, or good. We are wondering what they are offering us, and they are pushing it down our throat that we must swallow it whether we like it or not. I think these are the issues that Nigerians are worried about. But I hope that, just like Iyosha, you said, that it is important for the APC to build themselves now, because there's a formidable opposition. And this opposition is threatening that they are going to take power from them. And if the APC does not do the needful, definitely power is going to shift from them and shift back to the PDP. And we really hope that if it does, PDP will make Nigerians smile.
Okay, let's quickly just cap up our conversation by looking at the incident that occurred, I think on Friday, where the residence of Justice of the Supreme Court, Mary Odili, was invaded But as we speak, nobody is taking responsibility for this action. Governor of Rivers State has already issued an ultimatum of 48 hours for federal government to fish out those responsible. I don't get it. The Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Justice was fingered. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission chairman was also fingered, but they've all come out to deny it outrightly. So who is responsible?
Honestly, this is why I said, and I have continued to maintain, that the level of recklessness, and if you like, executive rascality in Nigeria is unprecedented. It's unprecedented. Isn't it disturbing that the #2 most senior Supreme Court justice is treated in this way? And to think that we are wondering who invaded the residence beats my imagination, because this woman is not a private citizen. She is a public citizen. And of course, she has routine of law enforcement agents around her. Even if the woman does not know those who invaded her residence, what about the security details
attached to her?
Attached to her. Are they telling me that they did not have conversation with the people who invaded her house? These are the issues in Nigeria, and I think that we should come out and say it the way it is. As it stands, it is not unlikely that the invasion of her house is connected to her possible emergence as the next Chief Justice of the country, because we saw this play out in 2016.
Yeah.
And it is playing out again. They are looking for issues and evidence to implicate her and disqualify her from the process. We have seen it coming. And I think that, just like Governor Wike has said, we should all keep our eyes open and to make sure that, look, these people do not again treat us the way they treated us in the past. And I'm saying us because it's a southern thing. It's a southern thing. It was done in 2016. It is being repeated again, and everyone is denying. Now, the Attorney General of the Federation has said it's even a criminal offense. Whoever did that, it's a criminal activity. And so he distanced himself from it. But the onus is on him as the #1 law enforcer in Nigeria to ensure that the culprits are brought to book. The EFCC has denied, the DSS has denied, but this woman has, in her security details, DSS officials, in her security details, Nigerian Police Force officials, and the likes. These people should be asked questions to provide information as to those who invaded her house. And for crying out loud, the woman knows those who invaded her house. And if she has said these are the people who invaded her house, we should take her words seriously. But of course, in this country somehow and sometime, we live in denial, because we have seen situations where public officials who made public statements in the public view come out again to deny that that's not what they said. And yet you play the video to them to say, this was what you said, and they said that's not what they said, that's not what they meant. So we are rather unfortunate to be living at such a time as this, but we hope that the culprits of this devilish act will be brought to book and called to order, so that our not just public citizens in Nigeria, even private citizens can live safely and avoid this form of executive rascality that breeds intimidation and oppression on Nigerian citizens.
All right, Dr. Lugasado, let me thank you very much for these beautiful thoughts that you brought to bear on the show this morning, looking at these issues that are confronting us and what we need to do to stem the ugly tide and change the course of our development and governance. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's the TMI Monday. We'll take another break. We'll be back with you with the rest of the program. Please don't go away.